Let's face it, Strickland versus Dricus 2 was a bit crap, wasn't it? It was more of a letdown than John Jones's fucking announcement. Absolutely nothing from Strickland. Basically just a hard-to-hit punchback. Never mind anyway, we move on to a much more exciting matchup. As I've said before this fight, as fans, it's better for us that Dricus won, because he is so much more of a better matchup against Khamzat than Strickland would have been. So let's take a quick look at this matchup. I'll do both sides. Firstly, I need to address that Khamzat seems unstoppable. There's a couple of little asterisks that I'll go over in a bit, but this dude is the most extreme example of aura that there's ever been in the sport. No one is as threatening as him. He's scarier than finding a lump on your balls. When you look at what he does to opponents, it's just fucking rude. I don't know if the odds are out yet for this matchup, but it wouldn't surprise me if Khamzat is the favourite, potentially by a margin. Whilst Dricus is on an impressive win streak and title run, it definitely feels like what's written in the MMA stars is that when this fight starts, Khamzat will run at Dricus and Khamzat will abuse him for as long as the fight lasts. That's what I think most people are expecting anyway. As much as on paper it shouldn't be the case. Coming into this fight, it feels, to me at least, that Dricus is coming in as the underdog. And with that being said, and with me being more drawn to underdogs than Strickland is to point fighting, I'm going to spend a few minutes trying to convince you and myself that Dricus is going to win. Or at least has a really good chance of winning. One of the main fights to look at when you're trying to convince yourself that he's got a chance against Khamzat is the Burns fight. So what happened there? And how can Dricus get into that type of fight? I think there was one main factor. Chimaev stated that early in the fight he followed Burns down to the ground, and instead of being defensive like everyone else, Burns immediately started attacking with submission attempts. As we know, Burns has got incredible jiu-jitsu, and Chimaev thought to himself, I don't want none of that shit. I believe in those exact words. And because of that, and maybe throw in a bit of underestimating Burns, Chimaev threw away his game plan and decided to just stand and bang. His corner implored him to get back to the game plan. It was just too late at that point, and after a good few shots back from Burns, Khamzat's ego was involved. And the result of that was a fucking epic banger that we all got to watch. So okay, can Dricus use anything from that? Well, yeah. Dricus is also really good at jiu-jitsu. You may have seen that time where he submitted an entire Gracie team. Not just that, but he's also considerably bigger and stronger than Burns. In fact, he's probably bigger and stronger than anyone Khamzat has ever been in the octagon with. So all of that lot is definitely an option to throw in there, right? Another thing to consider is Usman fight. Without going too much into it, Khamzat had a full training camp and Usman I think had like 2 weeks, if that. Usman was also fighting upper weight class, and most rational people will agree that if that fight was 5 rounds, Usman would have won, if he didn't already win the 3-round fight. So what were the factors there? Usman had good defence on the ground, neutralising Khamzat. In that first round, yes, Khamzat violated Usman, but looking back, he didn't really get much off. And as I said, even though Khamzat was the one that had the full camp, he was the one that gassed out. Yeah, he said something about a broken hand, but he still clearly gassed out. So going back to Dricus, with such good jiu-jitsu, I'm going to assume that he has pretty good defensive grappling. And cardio-wise, well, look, when he fights, he might look sloppier than Bonnie Blue after round 998. But he's showed, especially with this fight against Strickland, the dude can just go and seemingly never run out of gas. So you can also throw all of that in there as well. Oh, and on a completely unrelated note, here's Tom Aspinall with a message to all you unsubscribed shameless viewers.
What would it take?
Anyway, back to the video. And another thing, when you look at the Whittaker fight, look, it was impressive. But Whittaker had that whole jaw thing as a pre-existing thing. It didn't look great for Whittaker. But if he didn't have that existing issue, as much as it seemed like the writing was on the wall, we just don't know. There's more asterisks over Khamzat's back catalogue, but that'll do for now. Most fighters do go into a fight with Khamzat like it's a death sentence, which can only play into it in the octagon. Dricus doesn't seem to be scared of Khamzat at all, and he's going to be more aggressive than anyone Khamzat's ever fought, along with that being very awkward and unorthodox. This is without doubt Khamzat's toughest test by far. If Khamzat goes in there and manhandles Dricus and just destroys him, I will officially never doubt him ever again. But other than John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, this is easily the most intriguing matchup that we're going to get this year. Hopefully, they both come into this fight fit and well. And hopefully there's going to be loads of good fights all through the card just to build up the epicness. I can already feel the butterflies in my arsehole just thinking about it. Let's fucking go. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a sub, check out this playlist of recent bangers. I'll see you next time.